All right, good evening, everyone. This is the Board of Education Finance Committee meeting for Monday, December 15th, 2025. I'd like to call our meeting to order. First item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes from October 27th, 2025. Bonnie, did you receive any corrections to the minutes? Does anyone have any now?
No.
All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as posted in the packet?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. All right, the minutes are approved. Moving on to item number 4, discussion and consideration. We have the proposed 2025 tax levy receivable in 2026. Mr. Latham.
All right, good evening, Finance Committee. So this is the final presentation that you'll receive on the 2025 tax year levy you received in 2026. And I'd recommend at the end of this, we take any questions and that you'd endorse it, move it to the school board meeting, and then we'll be able to have our hearing and vote on it. So just a review, not much has changed since the tentative, very little, as a matter of fact. And so I'll just go through it one more time. So this is a little bit about the key components of the tax levy. As I mentioned before, it's about the equal assessed valuation, a combination of new property and construction, which is not subject to PTEL. PTEL, which will apply to all the other areas of the levy, which is the extension limitation law, will also apply to that. That is not new construction, the consumer price index, which is a limiting increase over the prior year, our tax rates and our max rates, a little bit about the total extension and some historical numbers, the total extension that we'll expect this year, any revenue recapture, and our truth in taxation, which tonight we'll have a hearing on that. So the AV, again, is the property valuation that's after the county and the state has provide equalization calculations that are performed. And it's important because it represents the growth of the district that we can capture, and it's used in the multiplication process to get to what our tax levy will be. So again, here's the rate setting EAV. The 2025 is the estimation. So the total EAV for the district has increased. It's now $2,138,892,182, and it's estimated to be a 9.61% change over the prior year. So again, that reflects some very strong growth and value of property in the district. This is our new property. So we've seen a little bit of growth of a little over $231,000 in commercial. We've seen a little over $7.5 million in industrial growth and $4.3 million in residential growth in the district. So overall, it is down from last year. I have there on the bottom that we were a little over $15.5 million, and so we have seen some slowing of new construction in the district. So again, the property tax extension limitation law was effective in 1991. It's approved by county, and Kane County is one of those that has the extension limitation law. Basically has a cap, but it's sometimes misleading. It doesn't cap the individual's property bill, but it does cap the taxes that we can levy in a given year. And then it also allows the taxing district to receive a limited inflationary cost on the tax extension on property. So although it increases property tax, as I mentioned, it's the factor of 5% or CPI. This year we're looking at CPI, and it does have some limitations or fair share for property. A little bit more about what that looks like. So here's the consumer price index with the historical from 2014 through 2024, and we're looking at a 2.9% increase. So you can see the last 4 years has steadily gone down from 7% to 6.5, 3.4 to 2.9. So we do see that drawing down of what we can capture in a tax increase, which also will have effect on the amount of dollars that we have. So when we look at the total cost the district may have for different needs, it does have a slowing process. These are the funds that are subject to PTEL. The cap funds are education, special education, our operations and maintenance fund, transportation, Social Security, IMRF, fire prevention safety. What's not capped is our bond and interest, our working cash bonds, and our revenue recapture. So calculating the limiting rate simply is a math problem. It basically takes the prior year extension times 1 plus the lesser of 5% or CPI, and that's divided by the total EAV minus new property or construction, as we call that. And a couple little bit of the notes are on the bottom. Limit rates based on the prior extension. The new property is outside the tax cap, and debt service payments are outside the tax cap. Now, traditionally, the clerk's office will add a percentage onto the debt service from what we need for paying our debt book or our bonds, just to make sure that's a practice that they do to make sure that we get all the revenue to pay that debt service. And actually, we'll be making our debt payment. The next one is due January 1st of 2026. We'll be making that on December 31st. So you'll see that fund go down greatly because we'll be making a very large tax payment. A little bit about the limiting rate history, so you can see it draws down as well. And that's typically what happens in an inverse process when you see the EAV go up. You can also see our tax capped areas of funds have gone down as well as the non-taxed. The non-capped. And the non-capped is really just our debt service. So as we pull that debt service down, some of those payments have come down as well, from the high of 15 million more to 14.5 million. So we need less of those non-capped funds. Here's our historical levy request. So I give you what we requested or what we actually received. For most years of the district, we've been really good about being pretty precise about our levy request. And so last year we were just a little bit off, not much, $103,000. And so here's some of the assumptions that are built into the levy for receipts that we're going to get in 2026. CPI at 2.9%, that's established as of December in 2024. That's confirmed to the district by the county. They verify that that's the rate that we'll use for the CPI. We always have the high level of that cap, which is 5%. We also have an estimated EAV that's a little over $2 billion. The EAV over the prior year is 9.61% estimated. The new construction is a little over $12 million. Our cap levy request is 4.87%. We see very little increase in our bond and interest to the prior year. And so our estimated tax receipts are $109,012,230, which represents an increase of $4,378,920 over the prior year. So this was the original draft that was done for estimating this. This is the calculation sheet. It also moved us into the tentative. This is the tentative, and the tentative essentially has stayed as the final. So I didn't recreate another slide, just kind of showing the progress and the stages of developing the levy. And then the changes were, just levying a little bit more for special education program dollars. I reduced the levy in Fund 50, Fund 51. The attempt was as those have kind of grown. We also have added interest income to those as well. So I levied a little less and levied more in some other areas this year. We also have levied for life, health, safety. As you know, we have those improvements, and we'll be making those over time here. The A's and B's over next year and the following year. And then we have to consider new property, so we get that as well from the county. That comes in from the townships of any growth that they have seen and record. And then lastly, the tentative levy becomes the final with no changes for then the board to consider and vote. The truth in taxation hearing, we did publish the notice. It's out there. I did receive a phone call for someone that wished to attend, at least speak to me about that. So I invited the taxpayer to come to the next meeting. Allows the public to give comment a couple ways. They can do it tonight under public comment in the committee. They'll have a chance to give testimony in the public hearing, and then one more time in the typical public comment section that the Board of Education has on their regular agenda. And we also get to hear back from the board. So if the board has comments, that will be the time to make it in those as well, just like the public. And then lastly, there's a cash reserve balance sheet that I have that comes up next. Those are unaudited. We did get the audit, so I will bring those back at another time and update this next page. And we are under accrual, so there's always the opportunity these would change. So this was the disclosure. It had the unaudited numbers. You'll hear the audit tonight, and then I'll update this page for the board as well and come back with that. So lastly, where do we go from here? We collect any final input. We did follow the requirements of law with publishing a notice. It's also on our website. It has been there for the required period of time. We also keep that in the office. And then tonight we'll have the public hearing at the beginning of the board meeting, and then we'll follow some processes. We'll have the truth and taxation compliance resolution. We'll do our certificate of levy. We'll do our levy resolution, which is where the board kind of identifies those needs in words and numbers. And then lastly, when it's all approved, On behalf of the district as treasurer, I'll go file those with Kane County and put those on record. All right, that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yep, sounds good. I think we're ready for our next meeting. So moving on, item 5, future agenda items. We have nothing there. Item 6, items for recommendation to the full board. We have the proposed 2025 tax levy receivable in 2026. Do I have a motion to move this forward to the full board?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move this item on to the full board for consideration.
Thank you.
Item number 7, information, legislative update. I don't have anything on legislative side. Dr. Barrett? Okay. Item 8, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.